right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. This is our annual tasting we do to celebrate the newest release from Montalcino, Brunello di Montalcino, one of Italy's greatest wines. And this year there has been a ton of hype about this 2010 vintage. So I was really excited to see how these wines were going to show. We always show my favorite couple of producers, Valdicava, Castello di Romatorio, Canalicchio di Sopra, and then whoever else has arrived. This year we had a lot of product in the market because there is a huge demand. So usually we would show some older vintage wine, some 09 Reservas, because the Reservas are released a year later. So the 09 Reservas just coming in. But this year, just two wines outside of 2010. And we always got to start with a Rosso, like Canalicchio di Sopra, one of my favorite small producers. And this 2013, wow, their Rosso just excellent. One of the best Rossos always in the business, and around $30 a bottle. I mean, it's still a relative value when you look at the great wines of the world. Brunello di Montalcino, well, this year the Canalicchio was up near 100. Usually it's $60 to $70 for one of the great small producers. To me, that is still a value for a wine you can keep for 20, 30 years in your cellar. These 2010s, even though they've got some nice charm to them right now, they've got a lot of fruit, they've got a lot of density, a lot of richness. Man, they're going to last in your cellar for 20 or 30 years easily. This 2013 Rosso will probably make it 10, and this wine spends aged a year in both French and Slovenian oak, and it's got a lovely bright red berry fruit to it, cherries, notes of wild sage, fine herbs, raw steak, like floral notes, really silky smooth on the palate too. This wine's got lovely round tannins and a nice amount of that red berry fruit, really clean, really fresh finish, that light spice and earth quality. Excellent juice, one of the best Rossos I've had from this great small producer. Camigliano, this Brunello 2010, the lightest of all the Brunellos we had, but still very delicious. That red cherry fruit, dried meat, smoked dried herbs on the nose, juicy red berry fruit on the tongue, that hint of herbs, rosemary, dried meat coming through on the finish. Fairly drinkable and smooth right now. This one got no votes for first place, though. Definitely the lightest of all the Brunellos on the table here. The Canalicchio di Sopra. This wine has an array of dark berry fruit, plums, cherries, exotic spices, new leather, black licorice, rose petals, herbs, graphite, just incredibly rich. It took about 2 hours for this wine to open, but even better on the second day, which is the sign of a great wine from a great vintage. Just an amazing array of red and blackberry fruit, firm tannins, but this wine's still somewhat enjoyable. The tannins all firm, they were ripe and round, and a long layered finish, echoing that nuance from the nose through the finish here. And this wine got 1 vote for first and 1 vote for second. There was a lot of killer wines in this epic vintage on the table. This is one of my favorite wines, and gets my highest rating, killer. Altesino, a very unique bouquet. This one, everyone picked out wine number 3, and just very different from all the other Brunellos on the table. That lovely bright red cherry, red currant berry fruit, and an array of kind of wild herbs and flowers, and a little bit of a musty quality, which blew off as the wine opened up, but very unique, very smooth, very silky, light, but not light in nuance and in flavors. That wild flower and herbal note from the nose coming through on the finish. This wine got 2 votes for second, but was one of the most drinkable wines on the table. Most excellent juice. The Casanova di Neri Brunello di Montalcino white label. Giacomo Neri makes 3 Brunellos from his vineyards, and well, he's gotten more 100-point scores, I think, than any other producer in Montalcino. This 2010 white label, another outstanding effort from him, and it's filled with dark berry fruit, that morello cherry, dark chocolate, exotic spices, black licorice, wild herbs, rosemary, sage, and more. This wine needs a day to open up. Also, maybe one of the best values in all the Brunellos we've gotten in at just over $60 a bottle. All the stuff tightly wound, but in the right proportion here. This wine just needs a little time to open up. Got 2 votes for first place and 2 votes for second. Most excellent plus, my second highest rating. Wow. Castello Romatorio, Brunello di Montalcino, Sandro Chia's newest label. This is a really cool half-man, half-beast label. One of the things we love about his wine, a work of art on every bottle. He's the most famous contemporary artist living in Italy today, and his wines are big and elegant. It's just packed with red cherry and plum fruit, an array of licorice, cinnamon, other spices, notes of earth and wild herbs. This is a classic expression of Sangiovese Grosso. Lots of ripe, delicious red berry fruit in the tongue, a lovely balance of herbs and that spice coming through, the perfect harmony. Not a blockbuster in size, but well built, should last for 2 decades in your cellar. This wine was a huge hit with the crowd, with 5 votes for first place. Wow, still did not take did not take the award. The award went to the Castel di Romatorio Filo di Sette. We had a bunch of California Cabernet drinkers. This is the only wine that had 100% new oak, a new style. This is the first time they've offered this wine. And a big bouquet here of that cherry liqueur-like fruit, really rich and just an incredible exotic this oak added to the fruit. Just a big, powerful wine on the palate. Lots of tannins. You get the tannins from the fruit, the tannins from the oak, and a lot of sweetness here. This exotic spice from the oak. Big, but didn't seem to be overpowering. I'd like to see what this wine is like in a couple of years. The crowd loved it with 6 votes for first and 2 votes for second place, making this the most popular wine on the table. The best... In the taster's opinion on this evening, it won over the crowd. All right, the 2010 Brunello di Montalcino, Pieve de Santa Restituta Rennina, one of the 2 single vineyard wines that Gaia offers from his estate there right next to Gianfranco's Soldera Casibas vineyard. This is a more feminine when you compare it to the bigger sugar ale offering, but this wine's got a good amount of dark berry and plum fruit, an array of dark spices, graphite, fresh earth, a potpourri of flowers here, black tar, an enormous bouquet here, just big and bold, and a long finish. This wine has layers and layers of spice, earth, and fruit here, and a little monster. This wine got a vote for first and 2 votes for second. Most excellent juice, my second highest rating here at $150. It better be. 2010 Valdicava, one of my favorite producers, so my opinion may be tainted on these wines, but always among the best wines on the table. Took a little longer to open up, as it usually does, and the next morning this wine was absolutely stunning. An array of sweet black cherry fruit, plums, earth, orange zest, wildflowers, herbs, red licorice, very complex, mouth-filling red berry fruit on the tongue, thick and viscous, but wonderful freshness, and array of that spice, turning a bit dry at the end. But this wine just needs some time. It's got everything here in proportion, and Vincenzo guarantees you his wines for life, so you can hold on to these wines for a very long time. Most excellent juice. And then the wine of the night, in my opinion, the 2009 Madonna del Piano Riserva. 2009s to me are a little more forward and showy, and this wine definitely backwards and needs a lot of time at $250 a bottle. That's what you pay big money for wines because of their ability to age, and this one I would say you don't want to touch for 10 years. It's a dazzling array of cherry, blackberry fruit, almost liqueur-like in richness, exotic spices, leather, dried meats, smoke, a hint of that Mediterranean mixed herbs on the nose, good amount of fruit showing here on the tongue too, a lot of tannins, but big, ripe and round, and somewhat forward, but this wine needs a lot of time. Much better on the second day. This wine's got all the right stuff in proportion, a very long finish. Got 2 votes for first place, but several of the tasters mentioned it was their favorite wine, but they just weren't willing to pay the price for it. So hey, when I ask you for your favorite wine, don't look at the price. Just say what your favorite wine is, and if a lot of people had that in mind, I think this could have came out as the top finisher of the evening. But definitely my top pick. A lot of great 2010 Brunello Montalcino on the table. If you love this wine, you definitely want to get the 2010 vintage in your cellar. Check it out. Everything we've got from 2010 I'm going to put on this offer, on this review. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.